It's been nearly 4 months since anyone has seen missing Chaffee County mother Suzanne Morphew. Today, the sheriff's office releasing new information.
In a press release, the sheriff acknowledging 2 months have passed since his last update, but said his investigative team has not lost focus.
The sheriff says the team has conducted hundreds of interviews both in Colorado and out of state, and that their sole focus is either finding Suzanne or determining the circumstances behind her disappearance.
Fox 21's Lauren Sharp is live in the studio now. Lauren, these explosive headlines brought this case back on everyone's mind.
Daniela, face-to-face and on the phone, I spoke with Barry Morphew, giving me his side of the story on the record for the first time. This after a man he used for contract work spoke out about what he found in a hotel room Barry had used the weekend of Suzanne's disappearance. Tonight, exclusive interviews with both men. So I want to do this on record. Tell me your side of the story, Barry.
Listen, Jeff Puckett was in prison for 9 years.
Still, Barry had hired Puckett for a project in Broomfield, fixing a wall on what turned out to be the weekend his wife, Suzanne, was reported missing.
So I said, listen, I need to do this job. I will pay you good money to come and help me. I gave him a job and an opportunity. They all jumped on it.
Barry said he'd been planning the project for a month.
That had nothing to do with Suzanne missing.
And Barry paid for Puckett's room, but didn't stay.
And that's why he had to leave for family emergency on Sunday night.
Puckett says he walked into the room set aside for him, and it looked like Barry had spent time inside at some point as well.
Like he wasn't there long, and so it was bought. The bed wasn't hardly slept in, but I wasn't laid in or nothing. It was just kind of like laid on or something maybe. Maybe got in there, took a shower, and that's it. Washed up and left.
But he said something was off, a distinct smell. Describe what the room smelled like.
Chlorine. I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It smelled real strong, and I'm like, damn. That's just all I thought.
And the next morning, a discovery that just didn't sit right, a piece of mail in the trash inside the room addressed to Barry.
Well, I found the mail the next morning, but it just kind of like, this looks like an alibi, you know what I'm saying? Just the way the things was.
Fox 21 News is the only news outlet that's talked with Barry Morphew. He says when he got the news about Suzanne, he left in a hurry.
I rushed home, left all my tools at the hotel, called my workers, and said, I've got a family emergency. You're going to have to figure this out on your own.
But Puckett says
wasn't nothing to work with.
The crew was left high and dry, and the wall couldn't be completed.
When as far as the dirt to put down there, put it behind the wall. Once you build it up, you got to you run a layer block, do your dirt, get inspected, and then keep continuing on to the next layer. And then wasn't nothing like that to work with. And it kind of pissed me off, so I come on back.
Puckett says he turned what he found over to authorities.
I mean, it's either foul play or an alien got her. I mean, we know aliens, that's kind of far-fetched.
Barry told Fox 21 News he's not worried about anything left behind in that room.
I didn't do nothing wrong in the hotel. There's cameras all over that place. I did nothing wrong.
Noting even he had noticed the smell of chlorine but shrugged it off.
I did not go to the pool and I did not get chlorine. I'm sure that they washed their rooms with that for the COVID. I don't know. I smelled it too when I was in there.
The hotel says its pool isn't even open, an effect of ongoing coronavirus restrictions. The hotel also says it uses peroxide multi-purpose cleaner in its rooms. But another question involving odor, following a search of the Morphew family home.
From what I understood, secondhand, they said there was an overwhelming smell of bleach in the home.
That information apparently was relayed by initial investigators.
I've heard the FBI lie, and I know they can legally do that in their investigations, but it just pains me to know that they are doing this to me and my family.
They did ask us, why can't we find any coolers at that house? And I said, well, I have no idea. I wouldn't know how many they had to begin with, but I'd have to assume as a hunter and a guy that maybe camps, he would have a few, and they couldn't find a single one.
The Morphew property has been searched multiple times with 2 separate sealed search warrants, and no arrests or person of interest have been named. Put it on record, Barry, right now. If people think that you did it, what would you tell them?
Absolutely not. I love my wife. I would never hurt my wife. She is the light of my and my daughter's lives.
The Chaffee County Sheriff's Office is the lead agency on this case. I personally have made several attempts to open the lines of communication with Sheriff Speasy. He hasn't returned any of my calls. Next week on Fox 21 News, we'll tell you what's being called into question and why. Guys.